Hey everybody, this is Chuck Marone with Strong Towns. The New York Times recently reported that homeowners are tapping into record amounts of home equity. I'm going to tell you why this is continuing to mess up the housing market. I got to tell you, this article made me a little bit sick to my stomach, right? Made me feel, it quoted a lot of economists, and economists have a very economist-centric view of the world. A view of the world that doesn't really take into account how humans live, what motivates us, what is in the best interest of an individual or a family. The article stated that since the pandemic, the average house has seen an increase in their home equity of $130,000. Now, I know statistics. I am afraid I know a little bit too much statistics. It's always a red flag for me when you have a system like this with huge outliers, when you use the term average. Average of 130,000 sounds like a lot. Average, if you have a room of 10 people and you say, what's the average net worth in this room? That will be a lot different if one of the people in the room is Bill Gates. So the average is kind of an odd number, but nonetheless, let's just go with the idea that home equity has gone up during the pandemic, right? As home prices surged during the pandemic, home equity went up, and we saw, more people, in a sense, be richer on paper because of the houses that they owned. At the same time, people with higher inflation, with other, desire to do things, we've made it very, very easy for people to cash out their home equity. And so home equity loans have, to quote the New York Times, surged. They actually had one economist, I want to make sure I get this exactly right. They had one economist, Selma Happ, who said, home equity is almost like a savings account. I think that's where I threw up in my mouth a little bit. Home equity is not like a savings account. If you're an economist, this is great because we can get people to spend beyond their means, right? You've got a little savings account, will juice the market a little bit. That gives you a little bit more, ability to attain capital. And then you can go out and spend and consume and do all that stuff. This is great if you're an economist. If you're a human being who wants to have personal security in your finances, be able to save for retirement, be able to put your kids through college, be able to do like normal human things. Having all that equity, but with really, really high costs, is not a great thing. Here's why, to me, this should be a red flag instead of something to celebrate. Instead of saying, hey, yeah, people have all the savings they can tap into now. It's not savings, it's artificially created equity. People have all these savings they can tap into now, so now they can go out and spend and consume and drive the economy. Which, by the way, was our exact strategy in the 1990s and early 2000s. It remains so today. Here's why this should be a red flag to everyone. The post-pandemic, or the pandemic kind of relocation in housing, and the real pumping of liquidity into the market, zero interest rates, lots of money printing, lots of handouts, lots of giveaways, whether corporate or individual, lots of money pumping in the economy. We saw housing prices climb dramatically. They need to come down. And they would come down kind of naturally. A lot of people with paper equity would lose that paper equity normally over time, because this is the way that bubbles work, right? There'll be a little bit of pain, but prices will adjust. For people who owned a home before the pandemic and are still in the same home, your paper worth will change a little bit, but it's not going to kick you out of your house. Here's the problem. The more and more people that go out and take out that equity, the more and more people that go cash out that equity, that get that home equity line of credit, that get that fixed rate home equity loan, the more people who suck that equity out, the more sensitive our economy is to housing prices going back down. If you have $120,000 in equity, you go get $60,000 of that out to buy a car, take a vacation, pay for college, whatever it is that you're doing, all of a sudden now you become way more sensitive to housing prices going down. If you lost all 120,000 of that, what I'm going to say, generally fake equity that was created during the pandemic, well, now you're $60,000 underwater. Now you're $60,000 worse. Now your house is not a piggy bank for your savings. The house is actually now the millstone financially around your neck. The more people that cash out their home equity, the more housing starts to function or continues to function or functions even more like a financial product. Very sensitive to interest rates, very sensitive to capital flows, and very, very resistant to going down in price. Because when prices of housing go down, if people are over leveraged, if people are over maxed, and it doesn't have to be a lot of people. 2008 housing crisis, it was only a tiny percentage of the population, percentage-wise, that got it foreclosed on, that lost their homes, that were underwater, that were in a nasty situation. You're still talking millions of people, and this would have dramatic impact on policy. The more we take out home equity, the more we encourage people to use their houses as a savings device, as a piggy bank, the more housing functions like a financial product and the less affordable it's going to be.